Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Giulia D'Agnolo Vallan, and this is a Sag Harbor Cinema Conversation. Today with us is Pietro Marcello from Paris. It's an Italian filmmaker. Speaking from us from Paris, he's the director of Martin Eden, which is shown in our virtual cinema, as well as The Mouth of the Wolf, which is also, you can also view in our virtual cinema. Buonasera, good evening, Pietro. Thank you very much for being with us.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for inviting me.
I want to start from kind of the beginning. Your co-writer, Mauro Brauci, gave you the novel Martin Eden 20 years ago. Why did you feel the urge to make it into a film, and why it took so long?
What I can say about Maurizio 22, I was not ready for Imagine to be the director of Martin Eden, to produce Martin Eden. And after 20 years, more than 20 years together, we decided to make Martin Eden together, because it was our wish also, because if I think about first time I used to read Martin Eden, was something very important for me, because it was the challenge of somebody, and my idea of literature was the challenger. Was something very special. And after 20 years, we decided to make Martin Eden.
You have called it a very free adaptation. At the same time, is a film that is very loyal to Jack London, to his spirit. Can you speak a little bit about the process of adapting it from, California, Northern California, to the Mediterranean, and making it really, bringing it into a more European and Neapolitan frame of culture?
Yeah, because the South, the Italy is my culture. I love American literature, but we were not able for Imagine to make an American. For me, Martin Eden was, it was like the Hamlet of the Host. Was just a character. Story. Sorry for my English. That is
no. It's not the English.
My connection.
Yeah, it's a little bit about the connection. Yeah. You were saying that it was. Yeah, it's your sound good now. Yes. So you were saying that it's you were talking about the character and saying how it's like an Hamlet, like an archetype.
Yeah. It's an archetype. Yeah, sure. But for the process.
At the same time, for Jack London, there was an autobiographical dimension, and is there an element in your Martin of autobiography at all?
See, about the biography, yeah, because Jack London was the first victim of a industry culture of the last century. I think it's very similar, the story of the writer and the character on the book on Martin Eden, and then there is something of the biography of Jack London also in our film. Sure, Jack London was the reference for us.
As someone that left Italy many years ago, when I saw the film first, I was trying very much to place it in the Italian history in a specific moment. Why it was important for you to keep it indefinite, to play with time, so that it's really hard to pinpoint where in Italian history the film happens?
My wish was to cross the last century, and also the history of the last century, because anyway, Martin Eden has been wrote on 1909, I think.
1909, yes.
Yeah, it was already Europe on 1915. And Martin Eden is very, very famous in Europe. I think it's more famous in Europe than in the US, because like Martin Eden, but not only Martin Eden, by Jack London. Martin Eden, Il Tallone di Ferro, the Abyssi people, Il Popolo degli Abissi, a lot of stuff is very famous of him in Europe. Maybe in US more the adventure book than
yes.
And then I think Martin Eden was on the literature European culture already on the beginning of last century, and was very famous as book in France, in England, in Russia. And for me, it's an archetype. It's a real archetype. And our Martin Eden is European Martin Eden. Martin Eden is a sort of Martin Eden from Naples. Cannot be. It's my culture. And on the movie, there is my culture. There is the European culture.
Can you talk a little bit about the choice of having Enrico Malatesta, the Italian anarchist Enrico Malatesta, at the very beginning of the film on May 1st?
It was important for me to have Enrico Malatesta because it's my point of view. Enrico Malatesta, he came from my village, my town. Is also for me omaggio, how you say it?
No, a tribute, yeah.
Maybe Enrico Malatesta is more famous in the other country. In Spain, is very famous, for example, Enrico Malatesta. In Italy, less. Maybe in US, not many people to know about Enrico Malatesta. Is something very, very extraordinary character. For me, it was important to have him on the beginning for not to be ambiguous, because Martin Eden, anyway, we can talk about a lot about the ambiguity of Martin Eden too, because he fighting for himself, he worked for himself, he died for himself. For me, it's a very modern character on the film, because the second part is something of very, it's a sort of influencer on our time, on the culture of Nazism, and for me the character of him is very modern in this historical moment.
Speaking of the contemporary historical moment, you have remarked many times how it was Martin Eden seems like a hero or an anti-hero of our time, that it reflects two tensions of our present, towards the extreme of neoliberalism and towards communism, and also an extreme of individuality, sort of the abuse of the self. Can you talk a little bit about how the character or the film interacts with the contemporary?
But because the book is different, because the treatment on the book is the treatment, il tradimento, I say
the betrayal,
the betrayal of the class of him. Of the working class on the book. On the film, it's different because he betrayed the class of where he became. La classe d'appartenenza, how you say it in English?
His own class, his own social
class. Yeah. It's this difference, I think, is my point of view, between the book and film. And our idea with Maurizio Baravucci was to have a different character on the end, more modern, more close with our time.
It is extremely modern, and your path to Martin Eden and through your other films comes from documentary. Documentary has a big role in your work. Can you explain why and how important was this one for this one particular movie, which is your bigger film in a more dramatically structured movie?
I used to using the same method of all film I made anyway, because I used to realize Martin Eden with the method of a documentary, also for survive, for realize the film. Because if my idea was to make a fiction movie on the traditional way, it was not possible, it was a big disaster. Anyways, the film, we cut 50 pages of the film, because our budget, it was not so big for to make film over 3 hours and a half. And then I was also producer of the film. I was anyway, you know, was challenger for me and Maurizio Brauci. We didn't know yet. We didn't know on that time which was the best way. I think that the method of documentary has been very important for me to realize the film, because I love to improve when I work, and then it's the documentary. I still carry on to work on with the same method of the past. For me, there is not big difference between a documentary and fiction. Is always transposition of reality. Is only question of method.
Another thing that is important in your cinema is the presence of archival material and in archival footage. And in Martin Eden, you have both archival footage, and then you have recreated something to bring us back to the childhood of Martin's childhood. Can you talk a little bit about the use of it, of both materials within the film?
Yeah, because I love to work with archive, because it's, for me, the archive is the most powerful idea to work with for the editing. Because for me, it was not possible to recreate something close with the archive, and then I prefer to using archive to tell about the big history. You know, to cross my country, to tell about my life, and I love to work with the contrapoint. With the archive was the only way to realize Martin Eden, also for to tell about the last century. I think to recreate what I did with the archive was not the same.
I'm seeing questions here on the screen that come from the audience, and since there is one that relates, it says from Anita, why did you select to shoot on Super 16? The texture and the frequent close-up makes it very intimate.
My wish was to shoot in 35, but my budget was not so big to realize the film in 35. But anyway, no, yeah, just for this reason, it's been realized in Super 16. But I used to realize a lot of film.
I have someone that's saying 16 was better.
Yeah, because it's more light. I used to realize a lot of film with old stock film, expiring film. Come si dice scaduto?
Expired stock, yeah, expired.
Yeah, expired stock. I used to realize all of my film with expired. Yeah, because I'm also a cinematographer, DOP. I love to be on the camera, to work with the camera.
Why it's important for you to be also behind the camera? It's another layer of work, you know.
Yeah, because it's more quickly. I prefer to be with my actor. I'm a worker. I don't like to be near the monitor. I want to stay with the other technician, with the camera. Yeah, I love Charge Magazine, but I love also on a amatorial way to work with the film stock. I am my chambre noire, how you say, camera oscura, black
the
dark
camera
room.
oscura. Yeah, the dark room. Your own dark room.
Yeah, I love to develop. I love to work with camera.
Why do you think?
A long time.
Why do you stick with celluloid?
But I'm not against the digital. Yeah, this is not a question between digital and film. I'm not against digital. I've tried to realize film with iPhone too. Yeah, I think it's more important to study history of art, and after, for everybody, will be more simple to shoot, to realize film. The problem is not the quality. I think for me it's important the way that I can shoot less, because with the film for me it's more simple to shoot because I shoot less.
Of course,
I need
because
a weight. I prefer film, but I'm not against digital. For me, it's possible to make great film with digital too, but to change the lens.
I have a question from Mary Jane, who's a costume designer. I was trying to pinpoint the time clues from the costumes. What did you ask? How did you explain to the costume designer what did you want it from them?
But yeah, to respect the palette of the film too. Yeah, because there was a palette condivisa, you say, that I share with the other department of the film. Yeah, sure. There was already an idea of the palette.
How would you describe the palette for everyone
but before to the preparation of the film, I made many research. There was dossier already ready for everybody.
I was thinking, speaking of palette, as I was telling you before, I was looking at the film again yesterday, and just the light of the film, and it made me think of paintings. It made me think of London, the color of the light. It made me think of Northern California, and it's Naples. Can you talk a little bit about the visual, the visual of it, the colors, the contrast, the use of light? It's really just beautiful. It's very painterly too.
I think it's more complicated to shoot in digital than film, because when you shoot in film, you can prepare the light, and after you can enjoy more during the color correction. And this film Martinez has been made by Andrea Magolo. It's one of the best in Italy as colorist. I made all film with him. It's like my brothers on work. We do we do everything together. And the color of this film is being made on my studio anyway, because it's great colorist, and then and we carry on together the work for the palette. But my idea of the palette was already prepared on the beginning of the film, because there was already a very good on the history of for the architecture, for the color, for painting, and many stuff, lot of stuff.
That you are prepared for each department so that they could feed from.
Yeah.
And from Matteo, Luca Marinelli is really fantastic, and his performance feels very raw. How much improvisation did you include in the direction?
About Luca Marinelli, he's a great actor. It was not to say to him, go forward, go on left, to explain what for me was important to talk about Martin Eden. The character of Martin Eden was more about the character of him, but he's a great actor. Was not the case to fix his job over the film, and then it's been a great experience for us, and we want to carry on together, to work together, to make new films.
You do like to work with a small group of people that you keep working with, right? It's important to you.
But I have my equipe by a long time. I have my equipe by a long time, because normally over the set I work with two equipes, the small one and the big one. With the small one, I try to do the sync that I can manage normally. Then, like on the documentary, the same thing. For me, it's not so different, fiction and documentary. For me, it's important the method that we're using for make film, which is important for me.
I have a question from April. To follow up, the epoch of the story is mysterious. it seems 20th century, but not clearly about one particular period. Was that to make it emotionally more important, or just to be mysterious, or what?
It was my wish not to explain, because my wish was to cross the last century. There was only one way, without explaining the date.
Yeah, to
No,
mix.
era mischiare, come to
Sì,
mix,
sì,
to mix, sorry, to mix everything,
to
to mix
overlap,
everything,
yeah.
yeah, overlap. I can try to change room. I can change room.
Okay, we're still with you.
Yeah.
So
Now it's better.
okay,
Sorry.
you're in the dark, but it's better.
Yeah.
We can hear you better.
Sorry. And
No, don't worry. It happens. Is the curse of the
lighter,
internet.
sorry. Because here doesn't work very well. Yeah, maybe it's better here.
It's great.
I have no lighter. I need lighter. Mi puoi prendere la luce che sta lì? Va bene.
Yeah, we can see you. We can see you. We can hear you. Ci sentiamo così.
I'm sorry, apologize.
No. It's the internet. It's not you or us. Is what it is. It's great to have you. So, I was wondering, there were several versions of Martin Eden made in movies. There was one made in Hollywood with Glenn Ford. There was a Russian one. Did you look at them?
Yeah, my wish was to see the film of Martin Eden made by Mayakovsky. That nobody know. It's a film that is disappear. Big mystery around this story about Mayakovsky. But that the first Martin Eden was made by Vladimir Mayakovsky, was the character.
He was acting in it, right?
Yeah, I never saw. I think the name of the director was Turkin, something like that. But the movies disappear. Nobody know about this story. And then the other one is the Russian one for the television. There is another one from for the television. It's Italian one. Was made on 40 years ago, and the American one.
Glenn Ford.
Glenn Ford, but it's not like the book. It's a bit different.
Did you expect
what I remember?
Did you expect that the film that you made transported to Italy would be so popular in the United States, both from a critical standpoint and from the audience? I mean, this film has been really embraced almost instinctively here.
Yeah, I'm very happy for that. I'm also surprised. But what is important for me that the film can grow old as well. What is important for me that it's this but for all movie it's always that how invecchierà. How you said invecchierà? Grow old.
How we will age. Age, yes. How the film will age, or how
age,
the film grow
will
old.
age.
Yeah, age. Yeah, it's like wine,
grow
right?
Old. Yeah,
a little bit like wine.
Yeah, I think it's very important for all movies. On the time, we need to wait. But now it's okay for me. I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised about US, but I'm happy for Luca. I'm happy for everybody. For my challenger with Maurizio Brauci, I'm sure of that. But also in Italy, now is new the film. Anyway, it was on the cinema, and with the COVID now, with lockdown, many cinemas are closed. In Germany, still await for release the film. In many other countries, it's a disaster for the cinema anyway. Yeah.
I have a question from Olivia. My favorite scene is when Martin takes Elena through the back streets of Naples and she begs him to take her home. Was this in the original novel?
No. If it was on the film.
It was in the film, book. Yes.
Yeah, on the
book.
Was
in the book? Yeah, no. It was not. Why?
Something
why did
similar. We adapted.
Why did you add it? Why did you
Yeah, because it was important for me. It was important for me and Maurizio Braucci to adapt it in Naples. In Naples, the difference between him and her, where they grow up.
You were saying before, you know, the first time we spoke, you said that you wanted to do this with us also because you heard that we have rebuilt a movie theater. And why you are a big advocate of cinemas, of seeing things in the big screen. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, because I think our as director, but not only me, we have bigger responsibility about that. But not today is already that already are years that the cinema disappear. In Italy, it's a big disaster because all cinema become a bingo supermarket. But now with the COVID, I will think will be the last, l'ultimo colpo, how you say it?
The last straw. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it.
You think in Italy?
But everywhere. Everywhere.
Well, you know, it's interesting in the States. There are a lot of small independent theaters that are, you know, just before COVID that they were doing well. Now it'll be hard to say. But how do you think that the filmmakers like you could help to foster the cause for movie theaters?
But I think independent cinema are everywhere. The problem is for survive. I think director together we should support the cinema everywhere, in any country, because I think it will be not possible that everything will be only on the free TV or by Netflix or other platform. I think it will be not possible. It will be not possible because the cinema is, come I said in English, riempirsi la vista.
It has to fill your eyesight. Yeah, it has to be big.
Yeah, because for example, Martin didn't work on the virtual cinema, but it's made for the cinema, for the screen. You know, I was my mission. And now there are many directors that realize film just for the television, not anymore for the cinema. I think something will, for me, it's already disaster. Already that the cinema are closed. It's already big disaster. Come dire, credo che I think we have big responsibility, all directors about that, because we think about to realize film, but we don't think about how people can watch the film, not anymore in cinema.
And it's especially for a film like Martin Eden that feels, as I was saying before, it feels big. It feels like a colossal. Even if you produced it and it was a relatively small crew.
Yes, and I don't know, because for me it's complicated to have judgment about what I do, what I did. It's very complicated to have judgment about myself. What I love is to make film all the time. I need time for understand because I love cinema.
You're
no,
back
but
now.
Look, my fibra is here. My connection.
Yeah, your fibra is there. No, it's just the internet is not helping us. But I think that the last thing we heard from you was I love cinema, and I think it's a good way to close this conversation. And I know you're working on a new film. I know you don't want to talk about it, so I won't ask. But it's been wonderful to have you. I hope that for the next one you'll be able to meet with us physically in Sag Harbor. And
yeah,
I'm
sure.
I'm very, very grateful for the time and for this conversation. And never mind the internet. That's what it is.
Okay.
Thank you so much,
Allora,
Pietro.
thank you everybody.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Thank you everybody for listening to
Bye.
me. Ciao ciao.
Bye.